I'm David Ebersman, Facebook's CFO. Thank you for taking the time to consider an investment in Facebook. When we set out to create this roadshow video, we wanted to provide information to enable your investment decision. And we wanted to do so in a manner that's consistent with Facebook and our focus on authentic, engaging communications. As you'll see, we used the video format a bit differently than others have done. We hope the format works and helps you to get to know Facebook better. Thanks very much for taking the time with us. Now let me turn things over to Mark.
I grew up with the internet, right? I mean, I had, when I was in middle school, I was using search engines like Google and Yahoo, and I just thought that they were the most amazing thing, right? It was this complete symbol of the age in which we live, where now you have access to all of this information. The thing that seemed like it was missing was always just people, right? So, the most interesting stuff that you cared about the most is actually what's going on in the lives of your friends or the people around you. And there wasn't really any way for that to be on the web. People had to share that themselves. That wasn't out there just ready to be indexed. So even from very early on, when we were just building this thing for one school, there was this concept of what it could turn into. We just weren't sure then that we would be the ones who did it.
At the beginning of 2005, the only photo you could upload to Facebook was your profile picture. And we noticed people are changing their profile pictures a lot because they wanted to use their profile, which was at that time just a static directory entry, to tell a story about what was going on in their life. We thought, well, it would make sense if you could upload albums of photos.
There were a number of other photo sharing sites that were huge, right? Had tens of millions of users and billions of photos. And we looked at that and we're like, okay, well, there's one thing that none of these do particularly well, which is, I want to see photos of a person, right? I want to be able to go to your profile and learn about you and see what's going on with you and see the photos that you're in, right? That's like the case that I think most people care about.
And the one sort of like tweak on the traditional photo model was you could tag who is in the photo.
The fact that you could so easily share with people and see photos about people was just so much more important that Facebook photos quickly became the place where more photos are shared on the internet than everything else combined. And it's a really good example of this principle that we have of designing our products to be social from the ground up, and kind of our hacker value system of just kind of building something quickly with the minimum set of features that we need to go and learn from and kind of build from there. Facebook's mission is to make the world more open and connected. And what we mean by that is that we think that people's lives are going to be better, and really that the whole world will function better when there's more information and understanding out there about both big things that are happening in the world and local things, what's going on with your friends and the people around you. In the world, in theory, there exists this kind of map or graph of all the relationships between people. They're the real relationships that exist.
The social graph is something that's always existed as long as there were two people on Earth that knew each other. And that social graph had two people and a connection. But one thing that there's never been is a map of everybody in the world and their relationships with each other. By giving each person the responsibility for their own story, their own point in that graph, together you have this amazing map of people.
Now it's like there are real people on the end of the connection. And before Facebook, there was nothing like that where you could do that.
Facebook helps you share what's important to you and see what's going on in the lives of the people that you care about. Two of the most critical tools for doing that are Timeline and Newsfeed.
Timeline is really the story of your life on a single page. And because it's tied to you and your friends and real dates, I think it ends up being a very clear picture of the important things that happened in a person's life.
Your life is an amazing story that a lot of people would be interested in if you told it. Whether it's your kid's first birthday, a restaurant you love, an album that you liked, an article that was interesting to you, you live through your communication of those things to the people you care about.
Come on, baby.
And each person has a story. everybody in the world. I can type in Barack Obama, there's his. I can type in, my coworker, there's hers. Now, you have billions of people projecting their points of view, their photographs, their stories, their opinions into the world. And the corresponding thing to think about is that the amount of publishers in the world and the amount of published information in the world is growing at this exponentially increasing rate. And yet the amount of time we have in the day to make sense of it all is a flat line. And we see that gap as this really fast-growing problem/opportunity to build something that helps consolidate, customize, personalize, and aggregate and provide for each person exactly the content that they would want. Our tool for doing that is Newsfeed, which is the personal newspaper published by the people that you care about. It's always up to date, and it's in your pocket wherever you go.
The stories are ranked in terms of what's going to be the most important, and we design a lot of algorithms to pick out trends that are happening in your network so we can produce interesting content for you. And as people share more and more stuff, that stuff is just going to become more valuable.
We're now changing within a generation the fabric of how humanity communicates with itself. There are over 125 billion friendships on Facebook. There are over 300 million photos uploaded every single day. There's 2 billion likes a day, and comments are left over 1 billion times a day. Over 900 million people use Facebook on a monthly basis. Over 500 million use it on a daily basis. The mobile phone is becoming more and more and more a huge part of our daily lives, which we think means that Facebook will just become more and more a part of our daily lives. We have almost 500 million mobile users, and Facebook is the #1 most downloaded application on every major platform in the United States. And we think that's really natural because the things you do on a phone are extremely personal and social, and they're exactly the kinds of things that Facebook is amazing at helping you do.
So early on, I think a lot of people thought about social networks as if they were a place that you go, right? Or they were a product, right? And you could build a lot of features into a social network. And what we realized pretty early on is that people want to take everything that they do and do as many of those things as possible with their friends and the people around them. And as much traffic as our website gets, we always assumed that the platform and the possibility for other people to build even more things on top of that would be even greater than any individual product that we could build. So therefore, the right strategy for us wasn't to try to build all of these different products and features ourselves. It was to only build the most important ones and focus on this core so that way other apps and other companies could plug into that and build these other experiences.
So platform just refers to a platform for software development, which lets anybody who writes software interact with Facebook in a way that makes an experience that they're building social. The simplest example of this is the New York Times. The New York Times puts a line of code into their website, and when you show up there, there's a recommend button on the article. And on the right, there's a list of what your friends have liked there, what articles they enjoyed and what they recommended.
So when we talk about Facebook as a platform, what we really mean is that it's this fabric that can make any product experience social, right? So you go to your music player and you can sign in with your Facebook account, and then all of a sudden it just lights up and all your friends are there and you can see what they're listening to and you can interact with them, and it's kind of all connected. And the thing that made that possible was that there's just that little blue button and you could sign in with Facebook, and then just kind of it comes to life. So the first real product category that was rethought by a company outside of Facebook was games. The set of startups ended up building these games that ended up being used by collectively hundreds of millions of people.
I think one of the things that they did that was so important and interesting is they considered my interactions with other people a fundamental unit of the gameplay. What's amazing is just the velocity at how quickly we got to 100 million people playing a game that had been launched less than a year before.
That's structural disruption. We've really reached this inflection point recently where now most companies that are getting started can rely on Facebook and know that the vast majority of their users are going to be on Facebook and have their connections there already. And that enables this huge amount of innovation to be unlocked.
So the Open Graph is just the next evolution of platform. It allows people to share actions they take in other apps back to their timeline seamlessly. And those actions end up in their friend's newsfeed, which accelerates the process of new apps getting built and getting up to scale. The Open Graph can help transform any industry that is driven by word-of-mouth recommendations and where your opinion of what you should buy or what you should see or what you should do are informed by the people that you care about. The Guardian did a Facebook Open Graph integration and saw a 400% increase in referrals from Facebook practically overnight. It's incredible. I mean, publishers want distribution and eyeballs. People who are coming to Facebook want interesting things to see from their friends. If we can create the connective tissue that helps drive traffic to all these different publishing platforms and can bring to Facebook a more interesting and coherent experience of what's going on in the world, that is just a win-win for everyone. Charitable giving, travel, healthcare, education, shopping, sports, fitness, publishing, music, film, all of these things can be changed. And if the internet can provide experiences in each of these categories where we're interacting with each other when making decisions in a really, really seamless way, we think that the opportunity is immense.
When I was in college, I wasn't actually starting Facebook to be a business back then. I rented servers for about $80 a month, and I didn't have that much money. I was just a college student, so I put up ads, and then when I had enough money to get another server, I would do that. So ads, have always been this really important part of what we do because we want to keep Facebook free for everyone.
As Mark and Chris described, at Facebook we have a broad mission. We want to make the world more open and connected. People on Facebook connect to businesses just as they connect to other people. I take my kids to the Woodside Bakery for pancakes. I track my runs with Nike Fuel Band. I shop at J.Crew. On Facebook, marketers can leverage the power of these connections to build their businesses, to find customers, to engage in ongoing conversations. Messages on Facebook spread not just from business to consumer, but more importantly, from friend to friend.
At Ben & Jerry's, we're not just a company, we really are a friend to people.
We really want to have a holistic relationship with our community, with our consumers, about values, about great ice cream. So having a platform where we can actually engage in a large-scale conversation, get feedback, that's what's so powerful about Facebook.
So the Ben & Jerry's Facebook page is evolving, and it has this big, beautiful picture on top, and down the side it has the different dates of our 35-year history.
Having other people talk about Ben & Jerry's is really at the core of the Ben & Jerry's strategy. Our 3.4 million fans have 244 million friends out there. The scale of that community is mind-boggling. That's how we engage a lot of people.
You can really reach your consumers in a lot of different touch points. On their mobile phone, in their news feed. It also puts it into social context, so you can see your friends if they've engaged with it. You can comment on it, you can like it, and you can share it. It's something that we would never be able to do if it wasn't for Facebook. We have been able to measure the impact of our Facebook page by putting it into a marketing mix analysis. For every $1 we spent on Facebook, it returned $3 in incremental sales.
The global advertising market is huge. Almost $600 billion is spent every year. But only about 12% of that is spent online. Dollars have been shifting from offline to online, including mobile, but they're not shifting as quickly as people are shifting where they spend their time. We think this imbalance will be corrected partially because of the products we offer. We believe that businesses of all sizes will spend more of their marketing dollars on Facebook because we offer a compelling value proposition, a unique combination of 4 things: reach, relevance, engagement, and social context. First, Facebook offers unparalleled reach. We have over 900 million monthly active users worldwide, giving people the ability to spark global conversations about ideas, social movements, products, or services. In the United States, every day on Facebook is like the season finale of American Idol, the most popular show on television, times 2. On a single day on Facebook, Paramount advertised the release of Transformers: Dark of the Moon to 65 million users in the United States. Our second element of our unique value proposition is relevance. Facebook is based on real identity. People are themselves on Facebook. This gives us the ability to match businesses with the people that will value their product or service. For narrowly targeted campaigns, let's say females 25 to 34, Facebook reaches the audience with 90% accuracy, compared to an industry average of only 35%. The third part of our unique value proposition is engagement. On Facebook, when you friend someone, you're establishing an ongoing connection. You will see what they share in your newsfeed and on their timeline going forward. Similarly, when you like a business page on Facebook, you're enabling that same ongoing connection. I like Sprinkles cupcakes, and I have liked them on Facebook. When they announce a new flavor, let's say Irish chocolate for St. Patrick's Day, I will see that story in my newsfeed. This is really different from traditional advertising. Almost all other forms of advertising are one time and one way. Facebook enables businesses to have active conversation with customers that are part of an ongoing and authentic relationship. The fourth part of our unique value proposition is social context. Study after study shows us what we all intuitively know. People trust recommendations from their friends more than any other source. If I have a good experience at a store today, I might call my sister on the way home and tell her. But when I like a product on Facebook, I share with all of my friends on Facebook. This is word of mouth at scale for the very first time. When someone has engaged with a business on Facebook, that person's friends don't just see a generic message from that business, but they see a message with their friend's name and endorsement. When I engage with a Facebook post, I become the publisher and share my updates with my friends. This is what we call social context. Friends are part of the message. We partnered with Nielsen to measure the effectiveness of social context. With social context, recall of the message increased by 50% as compared to an update without social context. And that makes sense. We are all more likely to remember something from a friend. Because social context is so valuable, we've been working to make it easy and natural for marketers to harness word of mouth across Facebook. Sponsored stories enable businesses to increase the reach and distribution of stories about their brand. We just introduced sponsored stories into Newsfeed and on mobile devices earlier this year. Today, only a small fraction of our impressions are sponsored stories, which gives us lots of room to grow. Mobile is a key area of growth for Facebook. For most companies, the mobile environment is a challenge because it's so small that it requires new ad formats. But that's not the case for Facebook. On mobile devices, our users are deeply engaged with their news feeds. Since sponsored stories are now available in Newsfeed and on mobile, they become a really natural part of the Facebook mobile experience. Marketers focus on taking consumers all the way through the marketing funnel, from the very top, where a consumer first becomes aware of a product, to the very bottom, where consumers will purchase. Facebook's well positioned to help businesses reach people at every part of the funnel. American Express is a good example of guiding consumers from the very top to the very bottom of the funnel.
We came up with the idea of creating a day during the holiday season where we could be encouraging consumers to go spend their time, their money with small businesses. And the first place that we all agreed was most important was going to be Facebook. Local businesses exist on Facebook. Consumers spend an enormous amount of time on Facebook. They're engaged. Not only were we able to get a fan base of 1.5 million people on Facebook supporting and liking Small Business Saturday, but when you think about their friend base, You know, we're talking about over 100 million people being aware of Small Business Saturday. And we don't know any other way that we could have scaled that level of awareness and that level of engagement over a 2.5-week period. The small businesses involved in the effort saw a 28% increase in their business versus that same day a year before. For total retail, there was a 9% increase. So this was a 3-fold increase versus what the total retail was able to see.
Facebook continues to be the heart of our community. It is not a optional piece of the equation. It is an essential piece of the equation. The possibilities that we can imagine at this point are infinite.
Today, all the global Ad Age 100 advertisers are Facebook clients. And this is important because on average, they spend about $1 billion a year each on marketing. Almost all of them spent with us every quarter of 2011. We also drive awareness and sales for small businesses around the world. 3.2 million small businesses have an actively managed local business page. One example is CM Photographics, a wedding photography business based in Minneapolis. When Chris Meyer started this business, he used Facebook ads to reach users with inferred intent for his service. He showed his ads to women aged 24 to 30 living in the Minneapolis area who said they were engaged on Facebook. Over 45% of the Facebook users who clicked on his ads became qualified leads. In 2011, Chris spent $1,500 on Facebook ads and generated $70,000 in revenue. Our advertising revenue has grown from $272 million in 2008 to $3.2 billion last year. We've made significant progress, but we've only just begun. Our long-term opportunity is to be the place more than 70 million businesses in the world, both large and small, build relationships with their customers that are authentic, that are ongoing, and are personal.
Now that you've heard from Mark and Chris about our product strategy, and from Cheryl about our advertising market, I want to share with you an overview of our financial performance and operating metrics, and why we believe that Facebook can become an extremely valuable company over the next decade and beyond. Our mission is to connect the world, so our top priority has been increasing the number of people using Facebook. In 2010 and 2011, the population of people who are active monthly users of Facebook grew by well over 200 million each year, and in the first 3 months of 2012, we added over 50 million people to end March with over 900 million monthly users. In certain countries like Turkey and Chile, we estimate that greater than 85% of internet users are active with Facebook. We believe these penetration rates suggest that Facebook touches a part of the human experience that's pretty much universal, and we aspire to achieve similar penetration rates in every country. We continue to invest in user growth throughout the world, in countries like the United States and the United Kingdom, where we already have approximately 60% penetration and are seeking to further expand our network, as well as countries like Brazil, Germany, Japan, South Korea, and Russia, where we're relatively less penetrated. User engagement drives our business performance. Our revenue growth has come from 2 sources: improving the reach and value of advertising on Facebook and growing our payments product that we introduced in 2010. The key driver of advertising revenue has been user growth, which has increased the number of ads we display. Other factors that have affected the number of ads include product decisions we've made that increase or decrease ads shown on various pages, and additionally, the amount of Facebook use on personal computers relative to mobile devices, as we have an established set of ad products for personal computers as compared to mobile devices where we just began showing a limited number of sponsored stories in early 2012. The other key variable affecting ads revenue is the value of each ad, as reflected in the price advertisers pay to engage with our users. The price of any individual ad can vary greatly, depending upon many factors such as user geography. North American users represented 20% of our user base in 2011, but approximately 50% of our ads revenue. We're continuing to invest in sales and monetization in other markets around the world where we have large numbers of users, and we expect to benefit as global online ad markets develop and mature. Future growth in the price of the ads we show will depend on our ability to continue to make our ads more relevant, more social, and more engaging. Our other source of revenue comes from payments. Our platform allows developers to build experiences such as games, music, or news that are social and personalized and integrated with a user's Facebook network. To support our platform ecosystem, we've built a secure payments infrastructure that enables users to purchase items from platform developers using any of more than 80 payment methods. In 2011, we processed $1.9 billion in payments volume, of which we paid out $1.4 billion to developers and recognized around $550 million in revenue for Facebook. Our payments revenue today comes almost exclusively from the purchase of virtual goods in games on our platform. And this revenue will grow if developers are successful in creating engaging new user experiences that stimulate transactions. In the future, we may seek to extend our payments integrations to areas outside of games, but with Facebook likely keeping a lower revenue share than 30% in areas where the developers' costs are higher. As our business has matured, we've been cautious about our rate of headcount growth because we believe that a strong and focused culture matters a great deal in building a company that's sustainably successful. Expect us to continue to grow headcount to take advantage of the product development and business opportunities in front of us, albeit at a measured pace. In terms of capital expenditures, our need for servers, data centers, and networking equipment is driven by the fact that we need a large computing infrastructure to deliver Facebook rapidly and reliably. We operate at a massive scale, serving over 10% of the world's population on a monthly basis. For each of the approximately 500 million people who will use Facebook today, we offer a unique, personalized experience. This challenge requires a major investment in computing power, and our infrastructure is an important part of our capability and competitive advantage. Our operating margins have been between 34% and 52% over the time periods presented here, bouncing around based on revenue growth and the timing of expenses, including stock compensation. We're pleased with these margins, particularly because we view ourselves as being in a heavy investment phase of our business as we build the foundations for long-term success. While we aspire for Facebook to be a high-margin business over the long run, we won't hesitate to make additional incremental investments needed to drive user growth and engagement, even if monetization follows more slowly and margins are affected. Mobile is a good example of this investment approach. We believe mobile usage of Facebook is critical to long-term user engagement, so expect us to invest heavily in our mobile product experience, even if mobile monetization is uncertain and will take time. We believe mobile usage will make us a more successful and more valuable company over the longer term. Facebook has been successful over the past 8 years by prioritizing the experience of our users and having a long-term vision about how the web would evolve and what Facebook could become. At Facebook, we believe we have the opportunity to build a business that is innovative, important, and valuable 10 years from now and beyond. We appreciate your time in giving us the opportunity to introduce Facebook, and we hope we're able to continue to attract investors who believe in our mission and are excited about the long-term potential of the company.
In everything that we do, we really want to honor the fact that this is a network of people and that we're all here because of the people using Facebook. And because there's this critical mass of people in this network, developers then want to build products for that set of people. And because there are all these people here, advertisers want to reach them. And then because there's this ability to make an impact, a lot of the best people in the world want to come work at Facebook. And then because of all these things, we've built what we're really proud of and think is a good business. And I think that that's the reason why we're talking to you guys here today. So it's all because of people wanting to use this product and this network. And I think a lot of what we need to do in terms of our internal prioritization has to honor that. So if you think 5 years out, using Facebook doesn't literally just mean using the Facebook app or software that we've written ourselves. I think that we're going to reach this point where almost every app that you use is going to be integrated with Facebook in some way, because the developers of those apps are going to want to make it so that you can interact with your friends and that you can share content back to Facebook to help grow those apps, and it's a very symbiotic relationship. So we make decisions at Facebook not optimizing for what is going to happen in the next year, but what's going to set us up to really be in this world where every product experience that you have is social, and that's all powered by Facebook.
Diageo is the world's largest drinks company with a great portfolio of brands, from beers to wines to spirits. In a world of limited marketing dollars, we always need to find the place where we're going to get the most bang for our buck. Facebook's got a great partnership with Nielsen. So for us, it was the first opportunity to start to connect the dots between what people are doing on Facebook and what happens out in the real world. What we did in this case is we ran an advertising test on 5 of our brands. When we looked at the group of panelists who were exposed to the ads versus those who weren't exposed to the ads, we saw a 20% difference in sales. It's great to see results like this in a nice controlled testing environment. But the exciting thing for us is where we go next. I mean, this is just the first step. We're going to keep partnering with Facebook. We want to keep learning and trying new things. It's an exciting time to be a marketer these days. I often feel that Facebook is right at the heart of pulling off